All right, everybody. Tabb flew down from Kansas City to come and teach us all about the lift. I said this in the original video as we were installing it. I don't think I've ever made this proclamation before. You know, I love the Swiss Trax flooring. Tool grid is really cool. Cox hose reels was a really cool discovery for me. Prevost piping, obviously Krenzel pressure washers. I'm making this proclamation as my favorite discovery for the garage. And I know it's not going to make sense to everybody, but to me, it makes perfect sense. It's my favorite thing. Pretty simple design, but the simplicity of it is what I think makes it so awesome.
Right.
And so this is the lift, and your company is called Top Shelf Storage Solutions.
Correct.
And so this is the 400-pound version of the lift. There's also going to be a slightly less expensive 200-pound version.
Correct.
We clearly don't need 400 pounds for my two super light bikes. But this is not just a bike rack. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. So we want to show you all the different things we can do. I should probably go in the attic and grab some totes or something so we can put it on there.
Yeah.
But when I start talking fast, that's when you know I'm excited about this. So this part here is my bike rack that I use to put on the back of the Raptor. This is a one-up rack, so this isn't part of the system, but this is the beauty of the receiver is that you can put really sort of anything that has a 2-inch, or you can do an adapter on a, what's the other size receiver?
1 inch and a quarter.
Inch and a quarter. So you could always
there's an adapter. You can use it for both, and that's kind of the beauty of this thing.
So tell us your background, and then tell us how this came about.
Sure. So I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. So 20 years ago, when my kids were younger and the garage was full of stuff like bikes, they were always parking their stuff in front of my workbench, and it, maddening. You come home and all the stuff's in front of your workbench. So I got to figure out, how do I get this stuff up and out of the way instead of putting it in the basement or behind the house, below the deck. So we figured out how to store stuff and use what is readily available, right? And so I eventually came up with this concept, but 20 years ago, we didn't have a lot of the different attachments and things that we have today. And with the onset of COVID, I had more time to think about it and actually patent the concept and come up with the idea of using Unistrut and a trolley and a hitch receiver to use attachments that are readily available today and store these, whatever you have in your garage, up close and out of the used, the unused headspace that we have.
Yeah, I mean, even in like this is not a particularly tall garage,
right?
A little taller than 8 feet, but this is 9'6", or no, 10'4", which is the height.
Yeah.
And then I lost some height because these were my first go with Cree lights, and so these are actually 5 inches thick.
Right.
And so I'd actually have a little bit more headroom, but. So I was wondering when you sent me this, when I bought one on the Kickstarter, and was wondering, okay, I don't have super tall ceilings, but telling you this area over here, I park my GT3 here, or I park my GT4 here. No, the kids are not allowed to walk on this side. No one's over here messing with stuff. And so it actually worked out really well. Even in a garage like mine where I don't have a lot of wall space and don't have a lot of headroom, it's worked out even better than I thought, where I get the thing up and out of the way. I don't have to worry about my my bikes flopping over, because that was one of my biggest fears, is that the kids come and lean the bikes on the wall and then it drops on the fender of my car.
Exactly.
And so you went about the process of patenting, putting the design together, and so when was that? Did you really you had this in your head for a long time? You made some prototypes in your garage?
So we went through many different iterations until we came up with really the concept of the trolley is really how the track encapsulates the wheels of the trolley, and so it's not coming out of the trolley itself. So you can kind of look at the wheels. Actually, if I had some track, these wheels go right inside inside the track.
And it's not, you're not modifying Unistrut, you're using Unistrut that already exists.
Using Unistrut that already exists, and they make Unistrut by 1 million feet a month, really.
Yeah.
And it is the industry standard track, and it's used for many other uses. But the only thing we do is we actually drill some extra holes in it so you can mount it on the wall.
Yep.
And so it has a good place, some good stopping points up and down on the side.
We learned that lesson when I was doing the install, was
Yeah.
we used washers, which made the tap con stick out a little too far. And so then we're like, oh, they put these holes, you put the holes in the Unistrut, so there's circular holes outside of the slotted holes.
So there are holes in the back of the track that are the exact correct size, and you have to use the screws, the lag bolts that we provide, because they fit in between the holes, or in between the wheels of the trolley. And that's that was really part of the trickiest part of this whole design, is finding something that could mount this to the wall and not interfere with the trolley itself.
Well, that's why you hear mine clicking when it goes up, because I have a block. So I couldn't use your lags.
You can use...
so I use tap cons.
You can use tap cons.
Yeah, and so mine, I need to get you really should use the Phillips style. Because this one does, does touch. You can hear it clicking when mine goes. It still works. But when we first did it, I had a washer in there, and the washer made it just a little too tall. Yeah. It would work, but you could tell it was smashing off of
So it is, you got to use tap cons, or you got to use the lag bolts that we're providing.
Yeah. So the ones you've sent, the ones that come in the box, are for wood, right? So if you were doing wood, you'd pre-drill.
Which
actually have a couple of them.
Yep, exactly.
So that's what you want to use.
That's what you want to use, and you can see that they have this tapered top here too, so it makes them stronger. So when you're putting it in, it's not going to twist the head off.
Got it.
And that's important.
So the Unistrut is a track, and then you design the bearings to fit inside the track.
And these are stainless steel, so these are going to last forever. This thing is built like a tank, right? So it's not going to fail. It's really, each one of these trolleys will hold 300 pounds.
Okay.
And so really the lift is designed to hold 400. We'll build models that can lift more weight. It's really limited by the track. Track and how far your load is from the wall, right? So it's rated for, like, this is a 400 pound because the actual motor can lift 400 pounds, but each of these is limited today to 300 pounds.
Got it.
Based on the track itself. So, and it's a cantilever load. That's based on a load centered 24 inches from the wall.
Okay.
The further you get away from the wall, the less it can lift.
Okay.
It can lift it, but it's limited by the track. So this is 12 gauge
deflection
steel.
and bending and
Right. So the track itself is the limiting factor, not the trolley.
Now, a lot of people had a question about, I saw in the comments, about the offset or the T, that well, if you were doing it on a wooden wall, you wouldn't be able to anchor that. So I was able to anchor the sides of the T because of my block. Do you need to anchor that?
So the main purpose for the T is to keep this thing from twisting. So when it's up on the wall, instead of this, it can handle this, right? That's not a big deal, and you're not going to do this on purpose, but it keeps it from getting too wobbly as it's going up and down. And on a wood frame wall, you have a top sill plate and a bottom sill plate. So you have a 2x6 or 2x4s going this way. And it's important for that top one to get into that top plate. Okay. And so you can actually use, if you want to use your own Unistrut, you can buy Unistrut. It's common.
Sure.
You don't have to do anything to it. You can buy Unistrut and get it longer.
Yep.
If you want to tie into more studs and get use a longer piece, you can do that. Most houses, this thing is going to sit on the foundation or on the floor. Yep. And you can bolt this thing. You could put this thing clear to the floor. I recommend that you do. You don't have to. And that way, the floor is taking a lot of the load. Got it. So over time, these bolts may get loose, maybe in 10 years, depends on how much you use it. I mean, the durability of this thing is going to be forever. So it's something to check. But if that thing is sitting either on your foundation or a foundation wall, it's going to be there forever. And so it's not taking any shear load in those leg bolts. So that's a recommendation. Put it on the floor. Put it on the floor or put it on your foundation wall. And in Midwest, most places, you have a foundation
You have
wall.
a stem wall, right?
A stem wall,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And you
yep.
set it right on top of that. And this thing can be bolted right over your trim. It
Got
won't
it.
hurt it. The track will bend right around it. No big deal.
Yeah, you told me that. I just didn't listen.
That's okay. So we're going to learn through that. And in this track, we cut it to length based on what you want, what you need. So if you have an 8-foot ceiling, we send you a track that supports that 8 foot. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Our max height that we can support is 12 today.
Okay.
Primarily because UPS will only ship a 10-foot stick.
Right.
So that's what I'm limited to. You can actually buy Unistrut in 20-foot lengths. So if somebody has a special application,
Yeah.
talk to me. And we can make sure the limiting factor at that point is how much cable I have in it.
Yeah. Yeah, so so someone could, if they're handy or if they have a contract
they're handy,
or
they can
something,
do it.
They can modify this to
Yeah.
make it work
Yes.
on a taller
It will.
application.
So 8, 9, 10, or 11, 12 are our standards. If you have a custom height ceiling, which you did,
Yep.
we cut it exactly to the length that you needed. So once you put it together, it was ready to go.
And then what we did, because I had you make it my proper height, I cut it to
You
put
can
it on
cut
the
it.
baseboard.
Yep.
And so you need one of these. I mean, it's not that. I mean, not everybody has this.
Or you
but
can use this, basically a cutoff saw.
Yeah,
Or just
right.
anything. Really, it's
So you don't
pretty
have
easy
to be
cut.
a super sophisticated individual.
And
to
it doesn't
fasten
have to
the
be
wall.
perfect. Literally, there is some tolerance built in, so it's pretty flexible and it doesn't have to be exact the same.
Yeah.
So, and we supply all the leg bolts if you have a wood wall, but if you have a concrete wall, use Topcons. And they are the exact same. The heads are a little bit bigger, but you can make them work.
Yep. So now my install also, just because of where the window is and the way I'm going to operate, I'd put the operator too close.
Yep.
But normally you would mount the operator outside of your racks. That way it was a little more comfortable.
You could.
Mine worked out because of the pocket of my window. I can kind
Right.
of sit in here and I can operate it this way.
Or you could run it along the wall. What we suggest is you've got an outlet there, which is awesome.
We put
right?
one in, yeah.
A lot of people don't have that option, and you could usually run it to an outlet to where your garage door is, right? There's 2 outlets there. You're only using one of them.
Yeah.
So run it along the ceiling to that, or run it along the wall to get one.
What's the power requirement? What are these?
It's only
from?
110, and it's only pulling 8 amps, so it's not heavy, right? It's pretty efficient,
So anybody has a normal 15 amp circuit,
not a problem.
as long as it's not loaded up with all their lights or
This
something.
thing pulls like a heavy drill.
Got it.
Really, it's not a big deal.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice. And then one of the other features that we haven't cut into yet, we can talk about the reason why this is rated for 400 and these are 300s, because you can do multiple trolleys in the track at the same time. We provide, it's called a double trolley. You can do as many as you want depending on how high your ceiling is, right? But we meant to have this, basically to put this in the, put this in the track at the same time when you're installing it.
Right. Yeah, so
then-
this was a double trolley kit.
Double trolley
Which is an
kit.
add-on.
You get the trolley and this cable, and when you're installing it, you put this one in as well, and you tie these together. And this cable is 24 inches, which is standard. We also have an 18-inch, so if you wanted it a little bit closer, you can. When I started doing some evaluation and testing, that seemed like a good distance.
Yeah.
We can provide these custom length, but
Okay.
it just needs a little bit of lead time. If you need a special length, we've already done it before with somebody. They wanted 39 inches. I can get it, right? But
Got
it
it,
just takes,
okay.
give me a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Our supplier here in the US can provide it, but basically put in the track, and that way you can do multiple different attachments.
That is what I think is so cool, especially if you have really tall ceilings.
You have a tall ceiling.
If you have like a
super
metal
handy.
building or something like that, you attach to the purlins on the way up, and you could do some really cool stuff.
Sure.
And mounting, multiple trolleys on it.
And the beauty of this thing again is that if you have attachments that are used in your hitch receiver on your SUV or your pickup, this works for it right out of the box. You don't have to do anything to it. Plug it into the wall, put your pin through it, and it's store your stuff. So you take it off your vehicle,
Yep.
you put it on here, you're done for the season, put it up out of the way. Or if you're done for the weekend, right, you want to get it up out of the way so you can still park your car or your truck in the garage, and you can feel safe. This thing's not coming down.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think about, for my bikes, I love the idea because this bike rack I was hauling up in the attic. This thing weighs more than this whole lift does. This aluminum one-up rack.
Yep.
And so I take it off and I'm hoisting it up the stairs and banging it off the walls. And so the nice part about the double whammy for me is that I don't have to put my stupid bike rack somewhere.
Right. And they are bulky and in the way. So this works for Thule, Yakima, one-up.
Saurus, any of them.
It doesn't matter.
Right. As long as it has a 2-inch.
2-inch or an 1.25 inch, and then if you have an 1.25 inch, you just get the
They all come to have an
$20 adapter, and it'll work perfect with this. No problem.
Got it. So let's show people operation here. There's really not much to know other than you put it up and down.
Pretty easy, up and down.
So
it does have the safety switch on it, so it's kid safe.
Got it.
Unless you show them how to use it.
So I could push the safety switch and then unlock and then come down with it. So let's get the other cool thing about this is I can set it at a height that's comfortable for me.
Right.
I can go lower or higher, and then I haven't had my kids mess with it yet, but I'm pretty sure, and I wouldn't want to mess them with it in this garage and come out a little while. But I'm pretty sure they'd be able to manage this thing too.
Yeah, if they can put it on and off your car, they're going to be able to do the same thing.
So this rack here is my favorite thing.
All right. So we designed this, and yeah, there are other cargo racks on the market today. Mm-hmm. But the reason why we designed this is because all the racks today are all limited on how deep they are, right? And so they're all like 18, 20 inches deep. And a lot of the coolers on the market and a lot of the storage tubs
are bigger than what works.
Yeah, so you can only haul 2, right? So we designed our own to be 24 inches inside diameter.
And then
so that you can rotate and put the coolers in this way, and you get 3 Yetis in. So that's when we on our website we show you that we have one that has 4 Yetis and some camping gear on it, and so it holds basically 50% more stuff than the ones on the market today.
And you want to stay 300 pounds
right
on this in order to not have any potential track damage.
Even though this thing is rated for 400 on your vehicle, if you still want to use it on your vehicle.
So this is vehicle rated.
It's vehicle rated, just like anything else, just like the others on the market today, but this is limited to 400 on vehicle, 300 on the lift, and again, lift because of the limitation of the track. So when you load this thing up, you can load it pretty much however you want, but you always want to keep the load centered, right?
Sure.
And you want to keep it as close to the wall as you can. The closer to the wall you put it, the more this thing can lift. Because it's really wanting to lift, all the lifting power is like right here. So the further away, the less it can lift, basically because of the cantilever load on this track.
Sure.
The mini pin is really when you have this thing up and loaded, you can put this here so it doesn't fall down. You don't feel like it's going to fall down and on your vehicle.
Oh, shoot,
right?
That's cool. I was wondering what that pin was for.
Right,
I thought it was maybe for a different...
And so we put pin holes through the side, and so that just as another safety feature, you can put that through, and if for whatever reason, if something failed in the motor or the cable or the pins, it's stopping right there. So there's holes in the side of the track.
Gosh, you've thought of everything. This is great.
And you can add more holes if you want on the side track. Don't get crazy, but you can. If you have a specific, so there's 3 holes in it now, which should cover most people what you're lifting. And once you have it all the way up and you're going to be done with it for a while, or you don't want the kids playing with it, you're gone at work, you can put that pin through there and just know that even if they're playing with it, it ain't coming down.
Yeah, got it.
We do offer this track stop that you can put anywhere in the track to stop it from going up too far, right? So you want to know exactly where it is. This little track stop's really simple. You put it in the track, you twist it tight, and then lock it right there.
One of the things I've been struggling with is, occasionally I'll skip, like today I didn't go to the gym. And so I put my med ball, I got my 50-pound dumbbells, I got my kettlebell. And so I'm thinking about in my next garage, I'll put my workout gear on here. Just keep the weight
I'm
in
actually
control.
thinking of making a workout bench
Yeah,
to plug into this,
yeah, that would be cool.
right? Just have a bench goes up and down.
Yep. Would you see there's now a company that makes a bed that, Murphy bed that flips up and it
Yeah.
opens up into a squat rack and everything. It's pretty cool.
Is it called the doghouse bed?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
No.
It is all comes out something like that.
That's funny.
So this would be Michelle's
Yes.
Christmas bull crap.
Yep. So there's tubs that fit perfectly. That's Home Depot and those sell.
So this is the heaviest one. So I put the heaviest one in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah, these are from Target, I think. The
Yep.
old,
So there are tubs that we'll put them on our site that you can fit 3 wide and you can stack them. So it
you can
depends
get-
on how much space you have. You can stack them as high as you
so you can
want.
get maximum.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm telling you, take my med ball, throw it in. I'd have it on here inside the.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I would use this for. And so now we're able to then take this all the way up. So now I'm going to want to push these forward a little bit. So this limitation on height of this, well, I guess it'll stop.
It can go to the housing basically, or you can move. Yeah. Then you can go as high as you want. So again, that's where this pin comes into place. Like you're just like, yeah, I'm not really sure. The kids saw me how to use this,
Yeah.
and you don't want it to mess with it. So you just put this pin in.
Yeah.
There's one that goes higher if it goes higher, but basically put this pin in, and at least you feel like, hey, at least somebody starts screwing with it. They're not going to figure that out.
I think this is the coolest part. I love the bike rack capability, but I think for
Cargo
people
rack.
that don't have a darn attic to put their stuff in.
Right.
And then you can get the stuff down, and you could get their bigger bins, like you guys
Yeah.
have the larger bins.
They hold a lot.
So this is the canoe.
This is really for
roof rack.
kayaks and canoes and longer stuff, ladders.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about a ladder.
Ladders.
My ladder's on the side of the house. Tucked behind
this is called the roof rack, and we designed this to emulate the roof rails of your SUV.
Okay.
Right? So anything that goes on top of your SUV can move from your SUV straight to this. Any attachments can bolt right to these bars.
Did I put it on correctly? Is this?
This is perfect. So there is another adjustment depending upon it that can go narrower in case you have, you're using wakeboards or snowboards, right? That are not quite this long.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that's for. So it's for skis, ladders, canoes, kayaks, anything that's long and kind of big and bulky. On our site, there's a picture of us that we can actually lift 4 kayaks at a time.
Yeah.
Right? Come up with that. And then we're also coming out with a bike rack that we'll have later this year that will hold 6 bikes.
Oh, okay.
And that's mainly for families that have just tons of bikes, right? And it'll be a vertically mounted one, so it'll hold them kind of by the front bike rack. So today we're kind of limited by four bikes, right?
Yeah.
And the bike racks they're getting so long. It's just they get so big, and they're huge, and they're great. They're great bike racks, but they also cost $1,200. So, right? So the one we're going to come out with is going to be probably at least around half that price.
Cool. And so would that be a bike rack for the car too?
As
So you
well.
transfer it back and forth?
Yes. It will be.
I'm excited about this thing. This
Cargo rack
sweet.
is super cool. It's it's a simple design, but it holds a lot of stuff. And basically it allows you to store whatever you need to store. And again, it's limited to 300 pounds on the lift, but 400 pounds on your vehicle. And again, try to think about when you're loading this thing, always load it equally side to side as you can. It can handle some twist load, that's not a problem, but it's just better to have uniform load and push it close to the wall as you can. And tubs or weights or tools or air compressors, snow blowers, mowers. And originally, mowers is one of the big things too. People have push mowers that are kind of hugging their walls. Pretty sure there's 1,001 uses, and we've only
Never even
scratched
thought
the
of them.
surface, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is great. So you can buy it obsessgarage.com. We have it set up. We're actually shipping these from the Kansas City distribution center. So 3 to 4 days max to pretty much anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
This is a 110 60 hertz design.
Correct.
So I mean, we could ship it internationally, but you'd have to.
They can use a transformer. We will come out with a 220 version eventually.
Yeah.
But we're not quite there yet. I have some demand for it. People keep pinging me, but it is possible. We just need to switch out the motor. So once we have enough demand, we'll come out some 220 versions as well, and they'll be the same. They'll be the same weight capacity.
So you Canadians, will ship it to you. Right now it's expensive. I'm working on, my goal was June of this year to have Canadian distribution center. But
nice.
Canada will be another hub hopefully at some point. Awesome. So if you have questions, hit me up. How would they get in contact with you if they?
So they can reach us at support@topshelfstoragesolutions.com, and we'll reach right back out and answer any questions you may have. Feel free, and you can reach me directly at tabb.buel@topshelfstoragesolutions.com as well. If you have some new product ideas, happy to hear it. I'm always looking for new ideas. Again, there's 1,001 uses for this thing, and so myself and my son are our engineering staff, and we pretty much can design anything you throw at us, and if there's enough demand.
Be careful
for it.
with that, the Obsessed Garage audience.
Oh, I know. There's going to be a lot of great ideas, but hey, we like to hear them, and we can always create some really cool stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming down. We're going to shoot another product video for the product page, but this, man, I'm telling you, I'm not saying this because you're here.
Yeah.
I'd tell you if I was mildly interested, but I just think this is the coolest darn thing for the garage. It just completes my garage because I'm trying to figure out what to do. I mean, people get mad at me. That's a $12,000 Yeti, with electronic shifting and. Yeah, one of my goals has always been to be the slowest guy on the nicest bike. That's the goal. That's always the goal.
As long as you look good, right?
Yeah,
you gotta
exactly.
look good.
I got the gear, I got the helmet, I got the Garmin, I got everything.
That's right.
And then if there's a drop, I'll walk down it.
That's awesome.
Anyway, thanks for coming out. Thanks everybody. Hit us up, obsessgarage.com, support at obsessgarage.com. My guys are pretty well versed in this as well. And we can, like Tabb's saying, we can custom order different lengths and kind of help you think through if you have a weird situation where you're trying to fit it in either a lower ceiling or a taller area or some sort of commercial building.
Right.
We can figure out how to make it work. That's
Exactly.
the beauty of the Unistrut. Is that you can modify and get it set up the way you need.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.